A single father boards a cross-country flight with his 6-year-old daughter. Tired but hopeful, he ends up seated next to a young, silent soldier. A single, whispered phrase from "Here I am alone" shifts his entire world. Mid-flight turbulence mirrors the emotional turbulence between the unlikely seatmates. The soldier opens up about her past, her struggles with reintegration, and the loneliness she feels after deployment. As the flight lands, the father extends an unexpected invitation that could change everything for her and his little girl. But trust doesn't come easily, and neither does healing. The boarding gate buzzed with the usual white noise of rolling suitcases, half-sleeping passengers, and overhead announcements. But for Ethan, the single dad in seat 22B, it felt like everything was happening underwater. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, clutched a tattered plush bunny in one hand and his fingers in the other. Her small frame leaned into his leg, tired from the early morning rush, her pink backpack bouncing as they made their way through the narrow aisle. He didn't travel often, not since Lisa passed. That was 2 years ago, and the wound still flared at odd moments like this. Ethan had planned this holiday trip months ago, wanting to give Lily something special, something outside the stillness and the empty rooms at home. This flight was step one in that journey, a direct route to his sister's house across the country for Christmas. He was nervous, but determined. Their seats were near the wing, a little past halfway through the cabin. He lifted Lily into her window seat, stowed their backpack beneath the seat in front of him, and sat down with a sigh heavy enough to carry the weight of 2 years' worth of single parenting. A few seconds passed before he noticed her, the woman in uniform, settling quietly into 22C, the aisle seat. She didn't say much as she adjusted her backpack and sat down, and Ethan didn't want to intrude. Her expression was neutral, unreadable, but something in the way she exhaled as she sat, like she had just put down an invisible burden, made Ethan take subtle notice. Her name tag read Daniels, but she didn't make eye contact, instead looking straight ahead, the lines on her face stiff, not from age, but experience. The engines hummed louder as the flight crew prepared for takeoff. Lily pressed her forehead to the window, eyes wide, watching the tarmac blur with snow. Ethan leaned over her gently to tuck the seatbelt across her lap, then turned back to face front. It wasn't until the plane was midair and the seatbelt signs were off that it happened. "I'm alone," the soldier whispered. It wasn't even said to him, not directly. It was like she had said it to the air, to herself, maybe to the hum of the engine or the clouds outside the window. But it was just loud enough, and just close enough, for Ethan to hear. He glanced sideways, unsure if he should respond. Her head remained tilted downward, her hand gently clutching a small photo, a snapshot of 2 kids and a dog, worn like it had been folded and unfolded 100 times. Her thumb trembled ever so slightly as it moved along the edge of the picture. Ethan hesitated for a moment, then softly said, "This your family?" She looked up, caught off guard that anyone had heard her whisper or noticed the photo at all. Her eyes, a steel gray shade, met his, and in that split second, he saw it. Loneliness wasn't a word, it was a shape in her face, a weight in her posture, something deeper than exhaustion. "Used to be," she said, her voice low but stable. Ethan didn't ask anything else right away. He knew too well what used to be could mean. Lily stirred beside him and looked over at the woman. She smiled, the small, fearless smile of children who haven't learned to be afraid of sadness yet. "Are you a hero?" The soldier blinked, then chuckled softly. "I don't know about that. My daddy says soldiers are heroes," Lily said, lifting her bunny up so it looked like it was nodding in agreement. Ethan laughed under his breath. "She gives out titles like candy. You might just have to accept it." The soldier cracked the faintest smile. "All right then," she said. "I'll take it." The conversation paused, natural like a song finding its rest. A few minutes passed, and the drink cart came by. Ethan ordered a juice for Lily and a coffee for himself. When the flight attendant turned to the soldier, she just waved a hand and said, "Water's fine." Ethan could sense she wasn't much for small talk, but something tugged at him to try anyway. "You heading home?" he asked. "No," she said quietly, looking out the window this time. "Coming from home, heading back to base. Got leave for the holidays but didn't work out." "I'm sorry," he said, and meant it. She nodded, accepting the kindness like someone who didn't get much of it. and didn't know what to do with it when she did. "You got anyone meeting you when you land?" he asked. She hesitated. No one waiting." Lily had curled up against her window by now, bunny in hand, eyelids heavy. Ethan reached over gently to cover her with a small throw blanket he had pulled from the backpack, then he turned again toward the woman. "You know, you could come with us," he said, the words escaping before he even fully processed them. She blinked, unsure if she heard him right. "What?" "I know it's crazy. You don't know us, we don't know you, but if you don't have anywhere to go or come with us, my sister's place. It's not much, but it's warm, there's too much food, and my daughter's got enough Christmas spirit to power a whole block." The soldier stared at him, not with suspicion, but disbelief. "You're serious?" she asked after a beat. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, I mean, it's not a formal invite or anything, just we've got space. You look like someone who could use a good meal and a few people who care." Her hands fidgeted in her lap. The photo, now tucked into her uniform pocket, felt heavier than her Kevlar. She didn't know this man, but somehow, he didn't feel like a stranger. She turned to look at the little girl, now breathing softly against the window, completely at peace. There was something in her trust, a pure and uncomplicated that reminded the soldier of something she hadn't felt in a long time. "I haven't had a real Christmas in years," she said softly. "Well," Ethan said, "that's way too long." She smiled then, fully, and it wasn't a fake one. It was awkward, a little broken at the edges, but real. "Okay," she whispered, "I'll come with you." And just like that, something shifted in the cabin air, not from the engines or altitude, but from something deeper. Something that started when a single dad, still learning to live again, reached across invisible barriers and heard the whisper of someone who needed family just as much as he did. The rest of the flight passed with quiet conversation. She told him her name was Rachel. She had served 3 tours. She didn't like loud noises anymore, couldn't sleep much, and missed her dog more than most people. Ethan told her about Lisa, about being a dad, about how hard it had been to wake up every morning after she was gone, but that Lily made him do it anyway. When the flight landed, Ethan held Lily's hand, and Rachel followed behind them like she'd always been part of the picture. People rushed to baggage claim, families hugged, lovers reunited. But amidst the crowd, the 3 of them moved quietly, a new kind of trio, unbalanced but somehow whole. As they waited for their bags, Lily reached up and grabbed Rachel's hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. Rachel didn't let go, and in that moment, surrounded by strangers, in a loud airport with Christmas music playing over the intercom, no one knew that something extraordinary had just happened. 2 people, each with their own grief and scars, had crossed paths in a way that would redefine what family meant, not through blood, but through choice. And it all started with a whisper, "I'm alone," and a stranger who chose to listen. Ask ChatGPT. Tools.